Hello there.
Now, Matt, welcome to the M42 main stage.
Thank you.
You're going to be speaking to us about how personalized training and longevity science are redefining health. And I'm thinking this is a super exciting subject. With Dr. Megan Rossi, we address the idea there's a lot of misinformation out there. And with yourself, it's this notion that there's so much data. What do we, as lay people, do with all of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult because we all collect data all the time, whatever we're doing, and there's tons of that. Whether that might be things you're wearing as your wearables, whether that's data we have from our blood testing and screening, anything and everything that we do, we're being tracked and monitored the entire time. And that's all good, but there's a danger of data fatigue. And we're going to make sure we understand why we're collecting that data, how we mine that data, how we use that data, how we collate that data, how we then, for you, the user, take that and make sure it's understandable, it's simplified, and we enjoy the gamification, perhaps in some ways, of using that data.
Fantastic, super exciting. The stage is yours. Audience, please give Matt Roberts a big warm welcome to the M42 main stage.
Getting older is the best, as long as you...
Sorry, I'm just going to go back.
Getting older is the best, as long as you train with weights 3 times a week, run 3 times a week, long, medium, and short, and run, and take a cold shower.
There's not a lot of science from the hours of 10 p.m. scoring.
Imagine if
It's a lot of data, a lot of information, lots of stories, lots of people talking about it. No one on there is wrong. Everyone's right. So all the things they're talking about, whether that's Peter Attia, Huberman, whoever it might be, it's all good information. But the problem is, there's so much to try and work through. How do we know what to use? How much time have you got? How many here people want to spend 24 hours of their day, 7 days a week, and $2 million per year on being healthy? Hands up if you'd like to do that right now. Not many people. So it's hard to try and look at the Brian Johnson approach, and I like what he's doing, by the way. As lab rats go, as guinea pigs go, it's perfect. People like me, it's an example of what you could do, what the outcomes might be. And his idea of not dying is bold, definitely. But how can we make sure we take which things within that are useful and refine it and hone it down? What if today we spend 15 minutes finding the way to make sure you can live for 10 years better, maybe 10 years longer, but 10 years better? For me, even though we can have medical interventions galore, which will make us live longer, my goal in what I do, which is as a health span leader, I've got clubs in London which look after people on a training side, physiotherapy, Pilates work, dietary work, hormone analysis, blood analysis, liver specialists, and on and on and on. My goal is making sure every single day of your life is maximized to the full. So in the last days of your life, you're still playing tennis when you're 85. You're doing whatever it might be you want to do, you can do it. So how about today we make a little deal, all of us, is how much time could we spend? It's not 24 hours a day. But could we all agree to spend maybe 90 minutes, 5 days per week? Hands up here right now who works out already, at all? Pretty much everybody. How many of you work out more than 3 days per week? Probably half of you. How many more than 5 days per week? Probably a third of you, somewhere there. All right, good honesty, everyone, that's great. So all we need to do is focus on 90 minutes of targeted work, 5 days per week as an average, and I can pretty much guarantee, based on all the data that we know, from all we've researched and done on our own client base over many, many years too. By the way, I've been doing this for 30 years, so I'm really that old. I started when I was 22 years old with my first clubs in London. I'm 52 years old now, so this is personal. When I first started off, the idea about getting older was one that was a long way away. Now I'm 52, suddenly things are very real, and they really do matter. We have to make sure we stay young, energized, enthused, because there's, well, frankly, we last the next 10 years, we might live forever. Medical science is that good that we might get there. So, why does it matter? If everyone was as fit as the best 25% of population in terms of our activity, we'd live for 6 years longer if you're over the age of 40. So it's not much to think about in terms of what we do. What does that look like, though? What is the top 25%? Is it super buff? Is it super healthy? No. Actually, the top 25% do 140 minutes per week of activity. That includes all activity, including gardening, including walking the dog. That's our top 25%. With that in mind, did you know that in New York City, if you were to go to New York City and you were looking for a set of washboard abs, it's 1 in every 2,000 people might have it. Our goal is not to necessarily be aesthetically perfect. Our goal is to live for longer and to live better. So that's our target. Peter Attia is probably at the front right now of longevity work. He calls it the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I call myself an asset manager. So you're the asset, and I'm your manager. I look after all the things that need to make you fitter and better and healthier and well. So we manage the assets. In reality, we sell life insurance. And the things going to kill you off are one of these 4 things: heart attack or stroke, metabolic disease or disorder, a neurodegenerative disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer. Pretty much all of those are preventable, or worse or best, delayable. So we can work on these things through lifestyle changes to ensure we can avoid the nasty sides of each of those things. This is a quick overview just of 30 or 40 things that Brian Johnson's doing. Excuse ChatGPT's way of having sleep on there twice, it matters that much. He's doing fecal exchanges, he's doing Botoxing, he's doing IVs on a super regular basis, he's doing workouts twice a day, he's monitoring his sleep, he's monitoring his erection size when he's sleeping, everything, you name it. So is that what we need to do? It's a lot of time to spend. Today we're going to focus on the 5 key things that you need to do to make sure you can live for longer. These are really simple and straightforward, based on the data. Strength training, we'll come back to in great detail. Polarized cardio, again, we'll do the detail. Diet, non-negotiables. Sleep, for sure, and our data analytics. So if we get these 5 things right, we will live a better life, without question. So starting off with strength. Strength is perhaps the key thing to make sure we can achieve what we need to achieve. Without being strong enough, you're not able to actually achieve anything. It keeps us upright, keeps us moving. We produce a great hormone response off the back of strength work. But what's your strength work looking like? How much is your strength work giving you a genuine challenge? How much are you pushing hard? Strength work needs to feel like as though you're going to the max. So when you're doing the strength work in the gym, rather than go to the gym and just decide to do your regular 4 exercises you choose to do, and you're doing 15 reps, 20 reps, somewhere there, to achieve the gains we need to, we've got to do twice per week a level which is going to give you such a heavy weight, you can't do more than about 6 to 8 reps. It's a high loading, not just going for the regime of the pattern you're used to doing. Pilates, for example, in this case, much as I love Pilates and doing it, it's great for lots of reasons, does not cut it on the resistance side. It has to be much harder than that. The gains we get from going to a high intensity level are huge. 1 strength session per week at a high intensity has a 15% drop in all-cause mortality. Increase to twice per week, that's 27% drop in all-cause mortality. These are easy wins, super easy wins, but it needs to be hard to the level where you feel like as though it's a full challenge. When we're looking at the cardio end of things, we have to make sure we're not just doing, again, a run-through of cardio. If you go to the gym or you go for a run or you do your sport, how much are you really challenging? How much are you feeling as though you're getting to the upper ends of your abilities? If you just go for a run and tick along at one level, that's fine. But are you doing the challenges you need to? We've got to actually stretch the degree to which we can push both ends of it. So zone 2 cardio right now is the big watchword. Zone 2 cardio is misunderstood. Zone 2 cardio is not just a walk in the park. It's seen as being something maybe which is a way of go for your stroll, heart stays at one level, we tick along. And zone 2 true cardio is all about trying to make your mitochondrial health, your cellular health, improve. The ways in which we can utilize and grow our ATP, and the ways we can break down and utilize our glycogen reserves and our fatty acids are defined by how well we do zone 2. Now, zone 2, for those of you that don't know, needs to be a level where your heart rate is probably around roughly 70% of its maximum, 65%. You're going for a walk in general, and walking around here today, people often say, I'm doing my zone 2 cardio because I'm walking lots of steps each day. We count our steps all the time, obsessively. Just doing step counting is not high enough. Done well, zone 2 cardio will make sure your body is in a really strong metabolic state. But it needs to be at a point where you feel like you are able to have a conversation with someone who's next to you, but it's a struggle. It's definitely more challenging. It's not a case of just being strolling along. That should be done, by the way, rather than 5 days per week, as Peter Attia says. This is probably 3 days per week to make sure you got your level check right on a frequent basis. Now, importantly on the cardiovascular side, we've got to really push the outer boundaries. So the polarized terms, our zone 2 is at one end of the scale, but really importantly, your VO2 training, your VO2 capacity will save your life. Tests have shown through good data that by doing regular high-intensity cardio work, we de-age the heart by as much as 15 to 20 years. Low VO2 is definitely associated with a significantly higher all-cause mortality risk. There's two types of cardiovascular training there that I really want to make sure you're fitting into your programming. VO2 training, doing a 4x4 approach, is 4 minutes of 85% of your maximum capacity. So this looks like being sat on a bike, working at a level where for the last minute of the 4 minutes, you're really disliking me to tell you to do this. There has to be a very high intensity, the level where you think I can't quite get through this, but I just about get through. It's 4 minutes of rest. It's a full, long recovery. And you do that 4 times. Now, the first time you do full 4x4 VO2 training, it's super hard. Chances are you go too quick in the first one, in the second one you're dying, in the third one you're on the floor, and so on. Completing the 4x4 with 4 minutes rest improves your VO2 significantly, super quickly, probably 10% every 2 months, somewhere there. That's a really significant change in how long you're going to live for sure. Now, it matters because high VO2 ensures we get a far lower rate of metabolic disease and disorder. High VO2 means we probably always certainly go hand in hand with high HRV, which is our heart rate variability. So when your heart is effectively, your nervous system is less stressed. The other way to do cardio work in the interval training side of things is to do short intervals. Now again, when you're doing your cardio work in the gym, constructing your plan and program, if 1 day per week is going to be our 4x4 VO2 work at a very high level, extended, the other one is super short, sprint type work, 20, 30 seconds, going for full overload, super high intensity. This looks like getting on a rowing machine and going flat out for 30 seconds, as hard as you can go. The recovery I haven't put onto there because that's defined by how you feel. So when you're doing your cardio work, do the high intensity. It might be your recovery to feel normalized again after the first one takes you a minute, or the second one might be a minute and a half, third one could be 2. You can extend your duration of the resting until you are recovered. Interval training programs in workouts that are pattern-based, minute on, minute off, minute on, minute off, have no specificity. We need to have your body recovered to ensure the next quality is super high. So we've got to make sure we're doing that 6 or 8 times within one session. So you sit in your rowing machine, you blast, or you might do a sprint up a hill, or wearing a weight, or pulling a sled, or pushing a sled, whatever it might be. It's full intensity with a full recovery, 6 to 8 times. Those 2 ways of doing your cardio training, along with our longer, slower zone 2 training, they optimize your polarized approach to doing cardio work, and they will produce the biggest possible change in your cardio fitness. That equates to being a 1 MET improvement over a 2-month period, which actually gives you a roughly 3 increase in your VO2. Lots of numbers there, I'm sorry. Average VO2, uptake of oxygen for most people, is about 25 as an average. I'm currently about 50, I'm very proud of that. It's hard to hang on to that, but you've got to keep on working at it. An increase of 10% in an average in 2 months is significant. In the course of a year, you certainly can increase your VO2 by 50%, 60%. This will keep you alive for significantly longer. So that's your cardio side taken care of for sure. Now, how mobile are we? Active mobility. I'm going to take it because the noise is on there, sorry. Active mobility is not just stretching. It is actively moving. So let's go back onto it again, if we can just play that again. All right, let's take a look. So we don't want to just get on the floor and stretch. What we want is you doing far more active movements. Why does this matter as part of your routine? Every time you do a strength training session, you should be actively moving, using bands, using rollers, using ways to actually physically move. These are strength type workouts. This is your active mobility. But why does it matter to get super actively mobile? Well, we know that if your movement is impaired, your chance of falling is massively higher. So we can actually do this while you're sat there now. So it's a little test for you. Put down your phones or your bits and pieces. And why don't you just do something for me? While you're there, put your hands behind your head, feet in front of you, stand up. All right, easy? Fine. Sit down again. Okay, put your arms in front of you. Put your left leg forwards. Now stand up. Not bad. Not bad. Heels on, exactly. Change size. Other leg, same thing. Yeah, good. Now you're really focused. All right, so who could do both of those with ease? Come on stage, sir. Come and join me. Big round of applause. Are you feeling fit? Well done. What's your name?
Ashwin.
Ashwin, pleased to meet you. Are you feeling very flexible today? Kind of. Let's take a seat on the floor. Let's take a seat on the floor. Okay. Yeah. Right down. That's right. Let's stand up, but with no hands. Yeah. Yeah, pants tight. If he tears his pants, then don't look. All right, good. Perfect. We should be able to take a seat again. Thank you. Have a seat. We should be able to get off the ground if we fall. Because whilst falling itself is a big risk, we know that. Dying, 1 in 3 adults who fall after 60 years old, fracture a hip, die within 12 months. It's a high stat. It's a big number anyway. So we want to make sure if we do fall, we have the ability to get back up again. The strength work we were doing in the strength training programming, partially, is to stop from falling. If you trip and you fall, that's the danger. Being strong, being mobile, especially around your hips and your lower back, will stop you from falling in the first place. And if you do fall, you can get back up and get some help, as our friend here can for sure. All right, so that's very important to build in as well. Sleeping. Sleeping is as much a part of your routine as should be as exercise itself. Lacking sleep is fundamental to, having sleep is fundamental to make sure we can stay healthier longer for sure. I wear a Whoop device on my wrist, which I like a lot. The things that make us sleep less are obvious: stress, late nights, bad patterns, and these are pretty bad for a number of things. For our mental health in particular, reduced sleep, erratic sleep causes all sorts of links and problems into Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. This is an example from Whoop over a very small change on how alcohol affects our sleep. So normal sleep, you can see in this one over here, it's quite small, I know, but there was deep sleep in this one of 1 hour and 42, and REM sleep total was 3 hours 12. So we've got a whole load of 4 hours 54 of restorative sleep on the non-alcohol side. Alcohol, in this example, had just 2 drinks of alcohol, reduced that down to being 2 hours 45. In a shorter night's sleep, yes, but it's a tiny amount of recovery sleep. Alcohol definitely is one of those things that we can reduce down. In fact, when Whoop did their global report on what they found from all of their data collected, they found that these things were the things that were positive and negative on sleep. Now, some of these are obvious. We know on the negative side, being sick, of course, makes us sleep badly. Sharing your bed makes you sleep badly. Being injured makes you sleep badly. Alcohol, we know for sure. Sex, unfortunately, makes you sleep badly as well. It's debatable, but it's on there. On the positive side, we've got to be hydrated. Feeling in control. So one question they ask you on Whoop is, do you feel in control? Do you feel good right now? Are you planned? Are you focused? Mental health and balancing is critical to make sure we can sleep well. Massage therapy, reading in bed. Not a phone, but reading a book in bed makes us sleep better. So all things to think about in our planning of how we do things. And on the diet side, let's quickly run through this, our diet non-negotiables. When planning what we need to do, we've got to avoid these red ones. Processed foods, according to our liver expert, Gareth Morris-Stiff, who's a surgeon in the US, processed foods have now overtaken alcohol as being the cause of liver problems, fibrosis. So processed foods has become the #1 liver issue. If the liver starts to go, we're in big trouble overall. Refined sugar. In some research just recently, the amount of sugar in 1 can of Coke, as an example, produces a short-term decrease in testosterone by as much as 25%. It comes back a bit, yes, but do it again and again and again. That's a set-in pattern that stays down there. We have a testosterone crisis in males right now. It's probably a generation is getting worse and worse. It could be sugar content that's the issue. It might be hormone content. It's kind of hard to know. Alcohol we know about already. We shouldn't have more than, if you're drinking at all, 10 units per week of alcohol, maximum. That's it, no more. On the protein side, whilst we give airtime to protein, you should be focusing in your programming of having 1.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per week for a female. For a male, 1.4 grams of protein per kilo of your body weight per day, not per week, per day. So if you weigh 100 kilos as a man, that's 140 grams of protein. If you're exercising very hard, maybe a slightly bit more than that as well. For a female, same thing. If you're 50 kilos, then this is going to be a solid 60 grams of protein plus per day. It's significant. We've got to have that protein to be high. Without that, we just cannot get a metabolism going. We can't regenerate the cell structures in any way, shape, or form. And we are definitely dehydrated. So in terms of what we said we would do, this is what your week's going to look like now. On Mondays, we're doing our VO2 work, that really high intensity, 4 minutes down, 4 minutes up. On Tuesdays, just that, half an hour. Tuesdays, heavy strength training day and mobility, and zone 2 cardio. Wednesday already is another day off. How lucky are you? Thursday's the heavy strength again and zone 2 cardio. Friday's the interval training, doing the 30 seconds of blasting, long recoveries. Saturday's a medium strength training day. If you're doing some interval some circuit training work right now, it can stay in there. There's only 2 days of doing the heavy lifting, that's all. The third lifting day is more medium, and zone 2 cardio, and Sunday's a rest day. That's it. That alone, in the way we described, will give you 10 years of healthier extra living. That's it. That's what Attia says, Huberman says. This is the consensus, honed down to being an easier pattern. What else could you do? Well, all sorts. You could use heat, which is great for your heart. You could do a sauna for 20 minutes in, 10 minutes out, 10 minutes in again, 30 minutes overall. Once a week produces a change in your heart health. Getting up for daylight to watch the sunrise, likewise sunset, helps your sleep patterns. You might look at doing cold immersion. You might do some form of a cryotherapy. These are really good for anti-inflammatory effects. Fluid timing, mainly to make sure you don't get up in the night to go to the toilet. Supplements, I would say probably for me, there are probably 2 supplements that need to be given to most people, are vitamin D. In testing we do and our blood testing, it's down in 85% of people to being a low level, really super low. And creatine. Creatine certainly is getting really good research and evidence that that's a must take on board thing. Timing of eating. If you're doing interval training on one day, you must eat within half an hour after you finish to ensure the next day your workout is energized. That's critical, really important. Hyperbaric, we're thinking about because we get good telomere lengthening from that. These are all the other things you might be doing. Infusions like NAD, jury's out, but maybe. What's next? The next stage is going to happen is we're going to have a democratization of how we get this information to you. Within 6 months, there'll be digital versions of people like me telling you what to do, not just by video, but actually interacting with you straight away. How do I know this? Mine's ready in 2 months' time. I had a conversation with John Lennon just last week to discuss this, and I kid you not, and we had a conversation over it, where he was, what he's eating, his back catalogue, how he made all the stuff at Abbey Road work. It's so convincing and real, I don't need to be here. I can be on the screen, and we'll do it that way anyway. What's good about that, though, is that all of this that goes on in here, all the knowledge that's available, will be available to everybody democratically at a low price within, I think, 2-3 years, maximum. Super exciting. Thank you for your time. Any very quick questions? I've overrun. You have a question?
Thank you. I thought that was really, really interesting. I love the interactive element as well. Congratulations, Ashwin. My question was on supplements. You mentioned sleep. How do you feel about taking supplements for sleep, such as melatonin?
So the melatonin seems to be, the issue with melatonin purely really is that by taking melatonin on, it appears to be that we turn off our own melatonin conversion. So yeah, exactly. So if you know you have low melatonin for some reason, then yes. Without that, I think something like magnesium 3 and 8 is probably a better way to go. Magnesium in general, better way to go. We need that, we absorb that well. Melatonin gets you to go to sleep, but doesn't keep you asleep. So better to have magnesium to make sure you can just get better quality of sleep. Yeah. Good. I think we're out of time. We are. Thank you again. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Matt Roberts. And thank you for the interactive questions and the participation. And how should we follow your work going forward?
Well, my website is mattroberts.co.uk. My podcasts are on there as well, so by all means do listen to those too. And there'll be lots more digital versions of me available in your pocket soon.
Fantastic. And I can vouch for the fact that Matt is super approachable. Any burning questions you have for him off stage, do grab him. He's with us for a little while. Thank you once again, Matt Roberts. Please give him a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Fantastic.